This is assigned by 3 roaming profiles extended. So if we take a look at the roaming folder, we see the user JD actually has 2 folders, JD and JD.v2 or version 2. So this folder JD is for the roaming user that logs into say a Windows Server 2003 machine or earlier, and this version JD.v2 is for a user that logs into a Windows Vista machine or later. What this implies is that any files or folders created by the user JD in a Windows Vista or 7 machine will not be accessible to the same user JD in a Windows, say, XP machine. So in order to correct this, we have to use a technique called folder redirection. So the first thing we can do is go to Active Directory. Here we click create a new organizational unit. Can leave this checked or unchecked. Let's give it a name called earlier version. Click OK. Now what we can do is add the users. Click next. Type a password. Click next. Click finish. Second thing we can do is create a group if need be. Can leave as is. Click OK. Double click. And we'll add this member. User 1 that is. Highlight and select OK. And click OK. Apply. OK. So if we create a second user within this container, it should belong to this security group. So we will create a new user. So we go to members and we see that user 1, which we added, but user 2 was added automatically to this security group. Click OK. So what we can do now is go to the root of the drive. So what we can do is create a roaming folder just for those users. So we right click, select new folder, can name it as the same title. Right click, select properties, sharing, click advanced sharing, click share, click permissions, click allow, apply. If we wish, we can add that security group by clicking add, click check names, click OK, click allow, apply, OK, apply, OK. We see that it has been automatically added. We click close, go back to Active Directory, double click, profile path, type the environmental variable username, click apply, click OK. You can do the same for user 2. Click apply, OK. So the reason we created this earlier version to actually for the permission settings for the roaming folder to make it easier. So that is to, if you were to add a new user that you wanted to roam among Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows XP, they would automatically be able to access their profile folder within this folder. So we go now to Group Policy Management, and we see that earlier version has been created, the container. So we right click, so we select create a GPO in this domain, can give it the same title. Click OK, right click, select edit, go to user configuration policies, Windows settings, and here we see we have folder redirection, which is what we want to enable. So which folders can we redirect for the roaming user? Highlight, select properties. The default setting is not configured, so we can choose either advanced or basic. So for this purpose we'll just choose basic, leave as is and select the root path. You can go back to new volume. We want the roaming profile to show up here, so we right click, select properties, again get a share name, go back to Group Policy Management Editor, go to Settings, uncheck and select, click Apply, click Yes, click OK. Do the same for desktop. Start menu as well. Can leave as is, follow the documents folder. So that is the My Pictures folder will be created within the My Documents folder. It should be the same for music. Now notice also apply redirection policy to Windows 2000 and earlier versions has been grayed out, that is, it has been disabled. So we cannot redirect the favorites folder, say for Windows XP, when the roaming user logs in. So we click cancel. It will be the same for contacts, downloads, links, searches, and saved games. So let's check the desktop to see if it has been saved. So it has been saved. So we can close this window. We can right click and select enforce. Click OK. And now what's left to do is to log in to each virtual machine to see if folder redirection works. Notice there are no users yet. So let's try with XP. So we notice that the user profile has been created here. Can log off. Now let's try Windows Vista and Windows 7. Notice that the version 2 profile has been created. Can log off. Now let's log into Windows 7. Now, if we choose to create a file or folder on the desktop with the roaming user, user 1, when we log off and log in into Windows Vista as well as Windows 7, we should see the same file since we redirected the desktop, if you recall. So let's see. So let's log off and let's log into Windows Vista. And here we see the document that is created within Windows 7 on the desktop is available to us within Windows Vista. So let's see if it works for XP as well. So it does work because the same document that was created in Windows 7 on the desktop shows up here on Windows XP's desktop. So we log off. So let's see how this is done. Notice we don't have any access to this folder as well as the version 2 folder. So how do we gain access? Simply right click, select properties, go to the security tab, select continue, either click on administrator or administrators. We leave this unchecked, otherwise the roaming user will not be able to access his or her roaming folders. So we select apply, click OK, click OK. Okay. Repeat the same process for this folder. Double click, you'll be prompted to click continue. Here we see the redirected folders. Let's go to the version 2 folders. And these are the folders that were not redirected. Click continue. Here we see the file that we created initially on the Windows 7 desktop. And see the time it was created. So if the roaming user creates files or folders within these redirected folders, he or she will be able to see them across Windows 7, Windows Vista, and importantly Windows XP. Any files or folders created within these non-redirected folders can only be seen by the same roaming user that logs in to only Windows Vista and Windows 7. Any files or folders created within these non-redirected folders will not be accessible to the roaming user when he or she logs into Windows XP. They will only be available when he or she logs into Windows Vista or Windows 7. We can close, and this concludes roaming profiles.